Hey gorgeous souls, it's Vix and I'm here with a video about Breath of Fire. So we've been talking about Breath of Fire a lot in the Instagram group chat and some people are finding it really difficult. And so I wanted to make this video that's kind of just like a little bit more of a deep dive into really what's going on with Breath of Fire, how to do it in a way that is easy, and yeah, just show you some like examples of how I do it, and hopefully this will help you to make the whole experience with Breath of Fire not just easier, but so that you can actually really access the practice, because we don't want people to be doing like an incorrect kind of version of a breathwork practice that's actually going to be doing more harm than good, or not doing anything at all. So we want you doing the practice so that it can help you and support you and do all of the things that it's supposed to do for you. So one of the things that was coming up was that people were saying that it was like they were hyperventilating with the practice, and that they were feeling like they couldn't really do it because they were hyperventilating, or it was just too hard, or other things that may be going on for you with the breath. So Breath of Fire, when you're doing it correctly, should feel easy. It shouldn't feel difficult. It should feel easy. So it may feel difficult if you've never done it before and it's the first time that you've ever tried Breath of Fire. It's probably going to take you a little bit of time to work out where your sweet spot is and how to make it feel like easy in your body. If you have been doing it for a while and you still kind of can't find that sweet spot, I'm here to help you figure out where that is. So it's supposed to feel easy. It's supposed to be an easy breath. If it's not feeling easy for you, if it's feeling like I could not possibly keep doing this breath for longer than 3 minutes or longer than 1 minute, then let's have a look at what's occurring, because you should be able to do it for, you know, if you're a brand new beginner, you should be able to do it for like 1 minute. If you can't do it for 1 minute, even with all of these suggestions that I'm giving you, then, you know, if you've got like a health related thing or something else happening in your body, it may not feel comfortable for you. Maybe Breath of Fire isn't for you. You know, check with your doctor. Maybe it's something that's not right for your body. But for most people, we can figure out how to do it in a way that feels easy, at least for a minute or for the 3 minutes. So one thing that, if you're having an experience with Breath of Fire where it feels like you are hyperventilating, you're probably breathing too high into the chest. You're probably breathing high into here. And so if you're doing Breath of Fire in a way where you're hyperventilating, it might sort of look and sound like this. It's like a gasping for breath into the chest. That's not what we want. We don't want it to come from there. We want the breath to come from the navel point. So find your navel point. And that's where we want the breath to come. So we're going to do the Breath of Fire holding at the navel point, with the hands at the navel point. If you can't feel anything happening down here, if you can't feel a movement in your navel point, you're probably breathing too high. You want to breathe lower. So that's one very important part of Breath of Fire. Another important part of Breath of Fire is you don't have to take a lot of breath. So people who are like feeling that sense of hyperventilating, maybe you're breathing too high, but you might be breathing too much as well. You might be having an experience where you're kind of breathing like this. And yes, it's getting your navel, but it's a lot of air. So I'm going to show you how I do Breath of Fire, and I want you to notice the difference in my belly and my chest when I'm just doing this slightly lighter, bit less air Breath of Fire. You can see that my belly's moving. I'm not breathing up here. It's all coming from here. The chest is moving, but that's just a reaction from what's happening in the belly. And you should notice that I'm not taking huge sips of air. That's all you need to be doing. It's just a light breath. Yes, it's heavy in the sense that it's coming from the navel, and you can deepen it if you're at a point in your practice where you're like, I really need to just get more down there. But the more you deepen the breath, the more the navel point has to move. But you don't even have to go that deep. You can just go to this point. So if you look at that compared to what we did at the start versus this, totally different breath, totally different breath. So I hope that this helped. Breathe into the navel, lighten the breath. You do not have to breathe like huge amounts. You do not have to take in like huge breaths. You do not have to have a massive inhale and exhale. It can be light, and the lighter it is, especially when you begin, you can even just do a kind of like a really light, really easy kind of breath. And you can slow it down as well. That's another thing that you can do with Breath of Fire. You can slow it down. But it's actually more, I think it's easier to do it faster than when you slow it down, because then I think when the slower it gets, the more breath you want to take. Like, and then it can start to turn into a hyperventilating kind of thing. So I hope this was useful. I hope this helped. I'm only going to send this, I think, to the WhatsApp group, the Instagram group, just because I know there's a few people in here kind of talking about the difficulties with the breath. I hope that helps. If you have more questions, let me know. I'm happy to make more videos with just kind of like breaking it all down for you. There was one other thing that I wanted to like mention really briefly too, and that was like some people were saying that they were finding it really difficult, finding it really hard on their back to hold the arms in the air and to do the breath. If you're having problems with the back and it's not feeling comfortable, first of all, make sure you are sitting on a cushion if you're just sitting on the floor. If you sit straight on the floor, it's going to be harder on your spine. That's going to be extra pressure put on the back and the spine. And if you're not used to sitting in a position like that, then it's just kind of putting extra pressure on the spine. The cushion takes some of that pressure off and it helps you to sit more comfortably, more easily, and actually really helps to open the spine, open the back, straighten the back more. The other thing is have a straight back. Make sure that you're sitting up really straight and tall. One thing that can happen is we think we're sitting up really straight and tall, but we're actually like, you know, hyperextending, and we're kind of getting a position like that because we think, oh, that's sitting up straight. But actually, you know, sitting up straight is like straight. It's not like an overextension of straightening. And then of course, when you bring the arms up, you do have the sort of potential to go a bit further that way and make the spine a little bit more flexed here. But really what you want to do is try to keep it as straight as you can. Another thing you can do is come onto the knees, and that can actually really take a lot of the pressure off the back and the spine, which is great unless you've got problems with your knees. And then you can get a cushion and you can put that behind your knees. Another thing you can do is sit on a chair as well. So finding a position that feels good in your back is really important. And if you are having any sort of like, if your back's speaking to you in any way, like, you know, take a break from the practice and go and sort your back out, see what else you can do for your back, see a professional, all of those kinds of things. If you're feeling any kind of tension or pain or like anything like that, just stop the practice and go and seek some professional support, because that's a sign that maybe there's something else going on in your body. But yeah, there's lots of things you can do. There's lots of ways you can modify, sit differently, see if that helps you. It could actually be like a really fun practice to just try it. Like especially if you're doing the 40-day practice, try sitting on your knees, see what happens. Try sitting on a chair, see what happens. You might notice some really different things happening in your body when you do it that way. Remember that you can always modify. You can always modify the practice to the point where you're just sitting, just deep breathing, long deep breathing. That's all good. You know, you've come to the mat, you can tick it off and say, I did my breath practice today. And it's all good. So yes, I hope all of these things helped. Yeah, let me know if you have any more questions at all, and I'm sending you all lots and lots of love.